Hello, everyone. It's Cristine Saxon. Listen, if you've been thinking, I need 6 ways to spark innovation because times are so uncertain, you've come to the right place. Let's talk, right? Let's just talk. We'll spend a few moments right now. It doesn't have to be so hard. Here are 6 simple things you can do because it feels complex out there. It is complex out there. It's also complex inside each of us these days. So there's a lot of feeling of meh, right? That's why the word rekindle is in here. Think of your team as its component parts, individuals. Think of the people around you who are feeling unmotivated, who are having a hard time getting their swagger back. You know, swagger, like in the old cowboy westerns when, you wouldn't see a cowboy, moping around or jumping around gleefully. They just walk with confidence, like, I got this. Well, a lot of us haven't got our swagger back in the several years previous to you watching this when things have been pretty uncertain. So I chose 6. Let's just play. 7's too many, you know. Uh, 5 isn't enough. Bit cliche. So here are 6 things you can do starting today. Grab a pen, grab your tablet, whatever it is. Maybe just sit back and take a pause and listen. And I invite each of you to walk away with at least one action that you'll put into effect today. One thing you'll start doing for yourself, for your teams. So 6 ways leaders can spark innovation in times of uncertainty. Ironically, it's when we most need them that we shy away from them. So when things are complicated, when we feel overwhelmed, think of the different things going on for you, for your teams. Labor shortages, systems changing feels like constantly. The new agile world where we release things, we have scrums. We don't arrive. We don't check those big boxes as often as people want or as often as we're used to. And people are tired. They also feel change saturation. Like, can I really keep doing this? Is this extra new thing we're doing really needed? And these are even our people who are typically positive, motivated, innovative. So with the rapid change, the uncertainty that's been going on, staying in your comfort zone is something that a lot of people are looking for, right? We're nesting in our homes more. We're not traveling internationally as much. All of this that's going on at the individual level certainly translates into work, as does the complexity at work translate into wanting to just go home, get comfy. So maintaining the status quo is helpful at times. And when we're looking to innovate, to get better, to improve, that's when the leader can really step up and spark. Right? I love this concept of sparking innovation. People feel worried, overwhelmed. Sometimes they feel, this is one of my favorite expressions, that when they look at the effort that's going to be needed, the juice isn't worth the squeeze. They need your help. So, drum roll, please. Number 1, and this is repurposed with permission of the University of Regina, who had me submit this as a blog, and they did this beautiful job putting these, really fitting photos with it. So I thought, you know what, let's pull some more content in behind this and add a bit of robustness for you so that you can have some actionable takeaways. So defining your sandbox is a term that I fell in love with. I've always talked about clear expectations and setting the bar and the importance of that. I read an HBR article that talked about innovation and said innovation isn't necessarily what we always think of it as. The best way to innovation is to define the sandbox, the edges, the boundaries. Tell people what recoverable and unrecoverable errors look like. Give them clarity, right? Inside the sandbox, try these things, break them. It's okay. Outside of the sandbox, this is what you can't do. So, try some new practices, policies, approaches. Don't hit the delete button on the full system. That would be an unrecoverable one. We thrive on clear expectations. That's why I always focused on that in my leadership, in my courses I would teach, in mentoring people. And Yes, we want clear expectations. We want clarity on our role so we can not just reach the bar, but leap over it. That's how defining the sandbox can really help innovation show up where you weren't even expecting it, because people want certainty. They want to know what's clear, what's certain, more so today than ever. And then you remind them to play, you remind them to experiment. And I encourage you, call it a sandbox. It will prompt that playfulness and turn down the worrying. Prompt people to try new things, to break new things, to go, well, that was interesting, back to square zero. And why not name it a sandbox? Who doesn't love a sandbox? Redefining, rebranding things is so helpful. You could refine errors or breaking something as a possibility bump. Or, I love this one, a missed take. Reframing, I do this a lot in my coaching and my teaching, my speaking, when I talk about perfectionism and fear of making a mistake, which is so common. There's that concept or that visual you might even have in your head of old movies being filmed when someone would go, take one, click, and put the little arm down on the little clicker thing. I don't know what it's called. Take one, film it for a bit. Oh, someone flubbed their lines. Okay, back to your places. Ready? Learn from it. Take two. Try again. Missed takes is helping dozens, if not hundreds of people that I know who I've coached, who have been in my classes, to turn down their perfectionism, their quality standards, their fear of getting it wrong. So call these things within the sandbox possibility bumps, do-overs, try, miss, and learn. Try, miss, and learn, rinse and repeat. And mistakes is always a fun one. Number 2, create safety. And the most important part of this is together. We don't want it to feel unsafe. We don't want to be, trying something, playing around in the sandbox, and then be embarrassed or called out or even ridiculed or eyes rolling at us. So safety is essential. Innovative teams are the teams who have each other's back, open their ears, encourage each other when they're down or when something isn't going well. And to get there, the most practical way is just create rules of engagement, a team contract. Lots of organizations I work with, when I come in and help the leaders on their own, but come in and help the teams as well, they just call it our agreement. Let's all agree on this. Simply just ask, what do we need to be more innovative? And really encourage you. What do we need to be together? How do we need to be together so that we can bring it? Let's think about that. If it's just rules for safety, it's not as innovative. So co-creating the agreement, making it yours, calling it something, call it Frank, call it Sally, give it a name, and co-create it together so that you're, for the purpose of innovation, creating safety. How can we bring up the goofiest ideas and knock them down and have some fun with them and then come up with the best one? I have a just a lovely example of this. I worked for the University of New Brunswick with student leaders in residence years ago. And we created a safe spaces program on campus where you could have stickers that you would get to put on your backpack, to put on your office door, your residence room door, that said, this is a safe space. Ignorance, harassment, hate, and bigotry will not be tolerated here. And everyone had to take a little training course in order to get one of those stickers. And it was starting to get momentum. And then one of the student leaders came up to me Monday morning after a party-ish weekend, I think it was spring break, and said, Christine, I have to tell you, safe spaces, it's working. And I said, wonderful, what's going on? She said, well, I was standing with a group of first-year students. This was a student leader, standing out at a party spot with a group of first-year students, and one of them started saying things that weren't appropriate. And rather than like not doing anything or not knowing what to do, one of the other first-year students went, hey, come on, safe spaces. They all went, yeah, right, and carried on. So simple. We need this together. We need this agreement, this language. Think of a way you can keep it in front of you as well to create that safety and reinforce it. So for example, if you have paper agendas for your meeting, on the back of the paper agenda, have your agreement. Just Print it on there. If you have online agendas, put your agreement at the top of the agenda. And maybe something fun like passing the conch, or who's the keeper of our agreement this week. And you could open each meeting, for example, with whoever's turn it is to say, I'm going to read off line 4 because it feels like it would help us this week with what's coming up. Or let's talk about that second point because I think we might have been, straying from it a bit. And take turns. Make it yours, make it real, and create that safety in the moment, not just by putting some rules up on the wall. Number 3, optimize their strengths. A strengths-based approach, some of you might know this, puts the right people in the right places where they're most capable. So getting the right people in the right roles for innovating, oh yeah, absolutely. The concept of strengths-based leadership stems from, you may have heard of it before, positive psychology. It's a new-ish branch of the field of psychology that looks at what's going well, looks at strengths, emotional intelligence, resilience, looks at what can make things better. You might even recognize it in your day-to-day life, like when you talk about being in the flow. That is foundational to the concept of positive psychology. So, really helping people to lean into their strengths, first of all, you need to figure out what they are. So you'll see at the bottom of this slide that I put 2 links for you. You simply can look up via Character Strengths and Clifton Strengths Finder, or you can take a picture of those links, for example. The best way to find out what people's strengths are is to get a better understanding of strengths. So the first one is free via Character Strengths, and it's more about what it sounds like, your character. So it's a nice one and a really positive, affirming one. If you had everyone on your team take that and then compare what your top 5 strengths are, you're going to get a better sense of who to have in what roles, right? Who to have on the brainstorming teams, maybe who to be the cheerleader, for example, and really encourage and advocate. The second one, which isn't free, and in my opinion, the juice is worth the squeeze, is the Clifton Strengths Finder, which I've been using for decades. It can help you to really understand. It's based on the concept that we are each born with natural talents, and through practice, applications and skills, you turn those natural talents into your top strengths. They're more specific. They're more about implementation than your character. And this is used around the world. You can bring someone in to do a strengths finder workshop with you. You can do the assessments and compare your strengths. Ultimately, will help you as a leader to go, okay, how do I get the right pieces in this puzzle? How do I get people in the places that, maybe you've got people who are resisting and they're naysayers, it feels like. Harness that energy in the resistance. Maybe a strength of theirs is critical thinking, but we see it as, oh, party pooper. Wait, you're missing out. You got a risk person on your team. So I really encourage you to learn more about strengths, help people on your team understand their strengths, and then get people in roles that innovation can just fly. The next one's interesting, to welcome all ideas. So something very simple. That's why I say these are simple. Having a team motto of like, no idea is a bad one, or bring it, sets the tone in a meeting, sets a tone in your one-on-ones, encourages when someone comes up with an idea and maybe it feels like it gets shot down, say, hold on, I like that you brought that up. Keep them coming. This is how you can help with really welcoming all of those ideas. Listen to people, hear their ideas, appreciate it. Create a container for brainstorming, for blue sky thinking. Create a motto like there is no wrong answer, or wrong answers create, better solutions. Create that container in that space for throwing things against the wall to see what will stick. That comfort, which also can come from having an agreement, right? From the last point. You likely have some team members who have like 25 ideas before their morning coffee. I know because I'm one of those people. While others would draw a blank and need to sleep on it before they come up with an idea, but are really good at implementing, right? Remember the strengths concept. Optimize their strengths. It's okay for people to be in roles that they excel at. Everyone doesn't have to be at the same meeting necessarily. And now for you as a leader, I'm going to encourage you to practice wait. Wait stands for something, and it speaks for it, just the concept of wait. I want you to wait before adding your ideas, adding your 2 cents. The reason for this is awareness of the impact of your own positional authority. In particular, if you have 25 ideas before coffee. So WAIT stands for Why Am I Talking? And feel free to Google that. See if you can find a bit more about it. It's something that I have executive and mid-management and new leaders around the world practicing WAIT, practicing going, I don't need to speak up right now, I'm going to let others speak up. Leaders who offer their ideas last get a different dopamine hit over time because they often run out of ideas because their team has already come up with them. And at first that can feel like, but wait, those were my ideas. No, 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 even better if they're theirs. So make that a new goal for yourself, a new dopamine hit, and then watch the innovative energy and the empowerment just get sparked up. Next one, I love this one, is it's about the leader's role not in the weeds, okay? I'll just be straight about it. I had an incredible leader ask me, he was new, got to know me, asked what I needed, and I was mature in my role, happy in what I was doing, and he said, oh, good, this is going to be easy then. But wait, one thing, what obstacles can I get out of your way? And my respect for him was almost instant. I needed someone to say that. I would be busy. Sometimes um, we are immersed in our work, see the obstacles, perceive the obstacles because of what our role is, how much we care, whatever our values are, and aren't the people that can get them out of the way because we're swimming in it. Sometimes the obstacles are, above our pay grade or outside of our own comfort or ability zone to resolve. Or, like I said, we might just be too busy doing our great work to think about them or move them aside, which can create the opposite of innovation. It can create that meh feeling. So what obstacles can I get out of your way is so empowering. It's like I talk about paddle your own boat. It's about handing someone the paddle, saying, go for it. How can I help? How can I help move things out of your way? I see some logs in the water there. Let me get those out of the way. You go. Talk about an innovation boost. Another fabulous leader I had would come to me after I had shared an idea at a team meeting, kind of sit down on the side of my desk and say, love the idea, so innovative. What will you get off your plate so you can move this one forward? They were teaching me to remove the obstacles, teaching me to not take too much on. And they would say, come and tell me by the end of the day, unless you know now. Remove those obstacles, and again, watch the flow. Number 6 is a fun one. You heard me talk about missed takes. Well, rewarding mistakes, right? Our human brains are wired to avoid mistakes. Think about this for yourself. Do you love making mistakes? When I ask that actually in a class of 30 people or 40 people, there's usually one who goes, yeah, I actually do, who already lives this way. Feeling like we've avoided putting ourselves out there, sticking our neck out, making a mistake, looking bad, being embarrassed keeps us safe. It's very natural for our brains to do this. It's one of the reasons for anxiety in emotional intelligence theory. Each family of emotion has a purpose, right? Sadness is to remind us something was important to us. Happiness is to help us celebrate. Anxiety is to help us be ready and help keep us safe. And it's uncomfortable. And we have a lot of it in the world right now. We're pretty ready. And so rewarding mistakes is different. Some of you are like, yeah, we do that at my company. And I'll bet it's very few of you. I worked for 12 years with an amazing company with an intentional culture of accountability. All props to them. It's Farm Credit Canada. I thrived while I was there. I had heard about it and was excited. I heard about their culture of accountability. And in my interview, there I was with all my great answers, trying to look my best. And about halfway through, the hiring manager turned to the other person, the woman who was also interviewing me, who was in the same role that I was applying for. There were numerous of us in that role, and said, hey, tell Cristine about how you messed up last week and what you did about it. And I was mortified at first and thought, oh my gosh, That's got to feel terrible for her. Well, she smiled and I said, yeah, that was quite, and she said, yeah, that was quite the cleanup, and proceeded to tell about being booked 3 provinces away in person to do a presentation and getting a call that day saying, hey, we're waiting for you down in the conference room. And she had put it in the wrong week. Couldn't quite walk down the hall. So she talks about the cleanup and how she made it better and how she was accountable and made the experience in the end even better than it would have been. She was rewarded for her mistake. Interesting concept. So it might be new. And negativity bias, we're told, is the strongest of the unconscious biases in humans. So that's why this is important to talk about. Remember that, think of the last performance review you had or test where you got 95% right? You nailed it. Where did you focus? The 5%. The majority of you right now are going the 5%. We most of us, almost all of us do this almost all the time. It's negativity bias. It keeps us safe. It keeps us not innovating, right? It keeps us careful. It keeps us cautious. Don't get too big for your britches, our brain says. So this focus on the negative is so automatic. Defining mistakes, defining do-overs, rewarding mistakes, all of these things are just elemental. Creating safety intentionally, reminding yourselves of it, encouraging each other, having fun, having some sandboxes. All of this is critical and proven to create the most innovative teams in the world. I'm going to leave you with this quote. Theodore Levitt, former editor of Harvard Business Review and a faculty member at Harvard, is known for saying creativity is thinking new things. Innovation is doing new things. Folks, innovation isn't just about ideas. There's a reason I put this picture that I took. This is a picture I took over a building in Saskatchewan, just on such a beautiful day. As the sun came out, there was a big building there. Boom, blue sky. Do blue sky thinking, right? It's good to do blue sky thinking. That's that creativity that Theodore Levitt's talking about. And as a leader, also keep your feet firmly on the ground alongside those wonderful people that you have the privilege to work with and to lead. Keep your feet on the ground, help them look up to that blue sky and come up with ideas, and be there alongside them as they innovate. Happy paddling.